Hi, I'm Sharon Bell with the Baynet. It's election season 2018. And with me today is Deb Rey, who is Maryland House of Delegates, District 29B, and she's also running as a candidate. How are you today?
Good. Thank you, Sharon.
Thanks for being here. Some of the things that have been coming in is a lot about the traffic congestion that we have in St. Mary's County. And it's just, it's a big problem that a lot of the residents here face. What is the state doing to reduce the amount of time that people are stuck in traffic? Put that out there like that.
Well, the state is looking at a lot of issues across the state. As you know, prior to 2014, a lot of the transportation money would be taken out of the transportation fund and put towards other priorities in the state.
Right.
Well, in 2014, we created the lockbox, which now allowed for the administration, under Governor Hogan's administration, to focus on the different transportation projects. And St. Mary's County has received quite a bit of money to fulfill their top priorities. But of course, we're still sitting in traffic, especially down in Great Mills and Route 5.
That's a big problem.
Right.
Yeah.
And I would like to let people know that there is a plan on the books to fix that intersection. So in 2000, at least as far back as 2007, the county commissioners had identified that as being one of the priorities of the projects that need to be fixed in the county. And that project has slowly moved up the list. Well, now all our higher priorities, other than the Thomas Johnson Bridge, have been funded, and they're either funded or they're for construction. They're either under construction now or going to be under construction in the very near future. So I've been working with the county commissioners and getting them to agree to move this project to number 2 behind the Thomas Johnson Bridge.
So the bridge is first, and
we always want to keep the bridge on the top priority to keep that, so State Highway knows that that is our number 1 priority, to expand the bridge and expand the road going to the bridge.
So at the 5 and Great Mills intersection, where right now is that on the priority list?
Well, it is number 3, if I remember correctly, but like I said, project number 2 was funded. So it should automatically move up, but the county commissioners have to make that decision to make that happen.
They haven't moved it up yet?
Not yet. It's that process comes around in March, when they'll send their priority letter forward. However, that project, the design is fully funded, and people can go on the State Highway, Maryland State Highways page, and under projects, and see exactly where the project stands.
So any projects that have been on the list or requested from the commissioners up to the state are on the State Highway Administration's website?
Only if they've received some kind of funding towards it.
Okay, so funding has been allocated. Well, that's good to know.
At least for the design.
Check it out.
Right. So the design has been fully funded. And there are 5 different options on the page that people can look at and see what they like, what they don't like.
Can they submit what they do and don't like on each design?
I think they still can, but I know back in 2016, we definitely, the State Highway came down, had a...
I remember that.
At Great Mills High School, we had where we asked the public to come in, take a look at all the options, and give us their comments.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay, so if that gets moved to the next project, when do you kind of estimate, and I know this is a far shot estimate, that the work on that might start?
Well, we have to get the money. We have to get the money for engineering, to move utilities, and for construction, and to buy the right-of-way. I would see that money coming in within the next 4 years if Governor Hogan remains governor. My top priority is Great Mills and 5, to get that funded and get construction happening there.
Yeah, that's a big bottleneck in our community. You've taken some heat with some of the no votes that you have cast in your first term, like consistently voting against the capital budget and operating budgets. Why did you vote no so often? And do you think your voters have been hurt in St. Mary's County because of that?
I do vote no a lot, but I think it takes a strong leader to stand up, somebody who has courage and conviction to stand up against both parties and say, I don't believe this legislation is good for my constituents, for the citizens of the county, or even the citizens of the state. I read the bills, and a lot of times the title of the bill can be misleading.
Right, I'm sure.
So, like, there is a bill, the Clean Water Act. That is very misleading because the Clean Water Act wasn't about cleaning the water. It was about allowing polluters to continue to pollute and just pay for it. So I was like,
So they pay a tax?
they pay a higher fee for emptying sewage into the water. And instead of making them clean it up, they just continue to be able to do that as long as they can pay to do that. And I thought that was wrong. That's why I voted against the bill. So I read the bills and I look for things in there that may be increasing our taxes. If it costs us more. We pay a lot in taxes already to the government.
Yes, we do.
And spending keeps going up year after year. We should be looking to cut spending, not to keep increasing it. I look to see if there's mandates on individuals or on businesses. Because the more government mandate there is, means there's more government regulatory actions on the individual, which costs more money. I look for, is it government overreach? There are a lot of places where the government thinks it's their job to tell us what to do, and it's
Right.
not. You know, one of the bills that came through that I'm taking some heat for is it says I voted against veterans getting hired. But what that bill did was say, was the government giving permission to you? You may hire a veteran. You may hire a veteran spouse. Well,
It's kind of strange.
we already had that. We don't need the government to give us permission.
Right.
So I thought that was government overreach, and that's why I voted no.
Are there things that can be done or that you're doing to try to change some of, even no's or yes bills, actually?
So one of the things I do try to do is, even if I don't like a bill, is try to make it better. Try to get to a yes. One of the things I did was we had a bill come through that the Chesapeake Bay Foundation wanted to close the oyster sanctuary until the oyster report
Right.
was completed. But the way the language was written, it would close the oyster sanctuary completely. You wouldn't be able to continue restoration projects. You wouldn't be able to throw an oyster shell back into
that would be significant.
the sanctuary. Right.
Right.
So what I did is because I read the bill and I understood what it was saying, I understood what the Chesapeake Bay Foundation really wanted. Even though I didn't like the bill, I created an amendment to get the language of the bill to the intent of what the Chesapeake Bay Foundation wanted. So I went to the sponsor and I said, right now the bill says you can't alter the sanctuary, but what you really want to say is you can't alter the boundaries of the sanctuary. And by putting in that simple phrase, it got to the intent of what the sponsor
Right,
wanted.
exactly.
And I'm happy to say they accepted that amendment on the floor, and we did make the bill better. So I was really happy I could work across the aisle to make that happen.
That's really good. What will your priorities be during your second term?
My priorities will always be my constituents. They're my number one priority.
So with what you're hearing from everyone, what do you think the highest priorities should be?
You know, this election, what I'm hearing from people is things are going great. They're pretty happy with things, and I think that's a testament to Governor Hogan and how he leads the state. And that we are making changes in Annapolis in the state legislature. So, you know, we're able to work across the aisle to get things done for the county. Legislatively, though, I would like to still continue to work to reduce taxes, get tax cuts, stand against increased spending, and stand against the mandates on our citizens.
Wow, that's great. Thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, you can email us at elections@thebaynet.com. No, October 25th, Thursday, is early voting, so make sure you get out and vote. November 6th is elections, and the Baynet will be starting at 7 p.m. on November 6th. We will start streaming live the results as they come in, and we will be given you information coming from the polling precincts. Thank you very much.